even though we are covering thousands and thousands of years in this class, going way back in time, in reality, we're covering a very small portion of what we might call history, although history is really from when things start getting written down. At the least, we're covering a very small portion of the Earth's past. So real quickly, let's just run through some stuff. This comes from scientists who do things like date the Earth, so if the dates I throw out here don't mesh with your faith systems, it's okay. We don't need to worry about it. But the Earth is about 6 billion years old, and the first group of people, we can maybe call them people, that seem like us, that are hominids, that walk on two legs, develop about 4 to 5 million years ago in Africa. And there are a couple features that make these things different than all the other creatures around them. The most defining feature is that they're bipedal. They walk on two legs. And that's great in a whole variety of ways. It means that they can use their hands for things and they can develop tools. But one of the other consequences of that is that also physiologically, the way their body operates and how it's put together is a heck of a lot different than animals. If any of you are from a farm and maybe you've seen animals give birth, animals that are on 4 legs, you know that when those babies come out, more or less they can do a lot on their own, especially things like cows and sheep and horses. They can stand up in a couple of hours, and while they're still reliant on their parents, they can kind of horse or cow, right? Humans, because we stand on 2 legs, like primates do, we the females in our species, have much smaller birth canals, which means that when babies come out, they are much less developed and they require a lot more care. So being bipedal means you have free hands, but it also means that it takes a lot of effort and cooperation to raise infants, which means that another defining feature of the earliest ancestors we have is that they were reliant on each other for cooperation. Out of this group of hominids, about 200,000 years ago, a group develops called the Homo sapiens, which are by and large our ancestors, although we know, looking at things like those DNA tests you can get now, that actually Homo sapiens are able to reproduce with, as you see here, kind of the whinier cousins, if you remember the Geico commercials, the Neanderthals. Actually, people who are Eastern European tend to have about 6% Neanderthal DNA, which I find kind of interesting. But where we really want to get to for this class is the Paleolithic Age and then the Neolithic Age. Paleo means rock. Lithic means rock. So the Paleolithic Age is the Old Stone Age, an area of time where groups of people move around, they're nomadic, they hunt, they gather food as they move from place to place. We know that these folks have some type of religious structure, and by and large, if we're thinking about this as part of human existence, this is the vast majority of time that humans have been around, but not a lot of people are there. These folks are not yet civilized. So on the next slide, we want to think about defining characteristics of civilization. And from there, we'll get into the New Stone Age and think about some of the big changes that precipitate that allow these folks to become civilized by our definition. And then we'll keep cruising from there.